Oh, look. We're live, everybody. Roll Tide. Thanks for hanging out with us. Elephant in the room coming at you back-to-back days. Clint Lamb on assignment, a.k.a. at his brother's bachelor party. So the two of us are going to jump on here and do a show. I know some of you guys are immersed right now in the SEC basketball tournament. So are we. We're going to talk some football on the show. We're gonna give you a ride for the next 45 minutes that you're gonna enjoy. And my backyard's getting redone. All that on the show today. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, all the things that you want to talk about right here. And Coker's open. All right, we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. Don't forget that. I got to throw this out there for you guys because I know many of you are getting ready for March Madness. I'm going to Vegas on Wednesday for March Madness and for the Dead. So I know all you guys are on the message board, covercrimson.com, telling me your favorite Dead song, and all that. And I love that stuff. 50% off. Deposit bonus up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip when using the code Crimson, mybookie.ag. I'm going to leave that up there for you guys because if you can't get to Vegas, you can get to mybookie.ag. Looking good, man. Looking good.
Appreciate that.
It's the best you've looked in a long time.
Yeah, wish I could say that about your yard.
Now, everybody they're wondering right now with all the things to talk about. Football,
we should have done,
basketball.
We should have done the show outside.
No.
Somebody would have set up a GoFundMe for you.
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is that the reason I got rid of the trees, and you guys that watch our show know, the studio, Terrapin Station, we call it, here is in the backyard, right? It's its own standing building, and it's plush in here, No, I'm just kidding. It definitely has an ambiance, though. This place has an ambiance, and I mean, you agree with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I walked in, I thought one of your buddies was about to bulldoze this thing.
But there was a tree in the deck that it was like 90 feet tall. And it was over top of my house, and I just had a bad feeling about it. So when the guy came to take that tree out, I just said, just get them all out of here. I mean, it's very, very expensive to have 90-foot trees, water oaks, and pine trees taken out. And when they did, that tree is hollow. So now I got like a hollow tree stump in my – but I'm so glad with these storms coming. Yeah, man, but with these storms coming, you realize like a storm like that could have knocked that tree off into my house.
Yeah. Usually these storms, I feel like they – actually, I don't even want to say anything now, but
a little knock on wood.
Yeah, huh? I mean, usually just sleep right through them, and it's not as bad as what they say it's going to be. But Christmas Day about 8 years ago, we actually did have tornadoes come through Midtown Mobile.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I didn't live here yet, but I remember that. So hold that thought because I want to kind of paint the picture. So they took all the trees out, and then you got to pay another guy to come in, and they grind the stump down in the mulch. And my backyard looked like it had been bombed out in the Iraq War. Okay, I mean, like it was just like
it still looks like that. You just got guys cleaning up the wreckage.
Yeah. Now it's like these guys are these guys as crew. They're putting in turf and building like flower beds and all that. Cause this guy would come over here, this fella right here, Coker would come over here and he would just like little digs at the place. Cause when it had the trees, it looked cool. It was just like every time there was a storm, these giant trees, like branches would be in the yard. Yeah. One almost hit John, my dog. I heard it hit.
It was always little digs. I mean,
yeah.
Now if I was a real asshole, I'd have brought out the sledgehammer.
Hey, did you know? Like you can tell that it's going to look nice back here. You get that feel?
You got to have some vision.
Yeah. I don't have it. I let them figure it out. But anyway, so with that said, one of the most influential events in my life, was the tornadoes in Tuscaloosa. I lived in Tuscaloosa 2011, April 21st, right? Anyway, whenever it was. I think it was the 27th. I wasn't at home at the time. I was out with I was working baseball, and I'm watching the TV, and it was like when these iPhones started having the news on them,
Yeah.
And we had a guy on the team named Trey McNutt, and he played at Shelton. He was a Cubs prospect, really good guy. And he's like, hey, like, I'm looking at his phone. We stopped, the bus stopped. We were in Jacksonville. We're going to Tennessee. Bus stops. He's like, got the phone, and he's like, hey, man, and he's showing me, and it's McFarland Boulevard.
Yeah.
That has
You're
been
in Jacksonville, Alabama, or Jacksonville, Florida.
And we're coming through, right? And I'll tell you, man, the trip back, knowing that Tuscaloosa had been pummeled, was just
quiet.
Yeah, it was really. I hated it. Yeah, and you're calling people, and nobody's got phone service, and I worried the whole time. And I haven't rode the bus since 2011 often, maybe once in a while. I have to drive because I would have drove from straight there to Tuscaloosa. So the next day when we got back, and the storms in Tennessee, that same storm, it killed like 240 some people or something.
Carson Tinker lucky to survive.
Yeah, right. Well, right, and I'll get to that too, because I went to his house.
Really?
Yeah, with the team, with some of the guys on the team. But I got back, and I had a my first vehicle after I had this amazing Ford Bronco that I bought and restored, and now it would be worth probably like $20,000. I bought it for $5,000 on 69 north towards Oakman, back when I was like working for Skoll, back in college at Alabama. I was working green beverage, Skoll, and bartending. And I remember paying a guy, come by and pay this guy, it was like on the side of the road. It was one of those orange, I don't forget what they're called, but like that construction company that it's all over the state, And I remember giving him that last payment and driving off. And I always wanted that Ford Bronco, like always. And it was so cool. And then I painted it. I got new engine put in it, so, over the years. Well, I had to sell that. And when I left, because it wasn't practical, getting like a mile per gallon. And I got this Montero Sport, and the Montero Sport, out of college at a 16% interest rate, with no credit or shitty credit. And then, but anyway, the storm, it hailed, and the whole car looked like something like you were hitting golf balls off of it. So like I'm driving to Tuscaloosa from Tennessee with like all these dents all over the car everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's the only time I've ever had that happen to me. And then and there were trees down, and I'm like going around like on the interstate, and it was crazy, man. And I got back there, and Coach Saban and all the guys on the football team and the athletic department, I was just trying to find somewhere to volunteer. And they're like, hey, and I don't know how, I don't remember how all of the stuff went down, but through Malmore and Finest Gaston, and I knew Neil, his nephew, was in my fraternity. I can't remember how I got hooked up, but it was me, Michael Casagrande, riding around with Finest one day, stopping, helping people, doing stuff. Anthony Grant, who I don't like, but was actually an awesome guy that day. He was there. He was there volunteering. One of the other days, I was on a golf cart with football players, right? And I think like I was like the, kind of the adult,
Yeah.
And driving the kids around, and we went to Carson Tinker's, and I remember telling those guys like, hey, be careful in there. We went to the house, and there was a tree in the middle of it.
I don't even know where you start. The tornado came through Selma. I guess it was 2 years ago. And I was driving through. I had no idea what happened. I just see police cars. I mean, detours, and I still don't. I have no idea what's going on. And I'm cutting through neighborhoods. Just finally, I realized what happened. But 100-year-old pine trees just snapped in half, ripped apart. Houses, just some of them flattened. It was the craziest. Like the first time I've seen what a third world country would look like.
Yeah, right.
And I've never been around, actually seen a tornado in person, but I hear there's like a One of my buddies was there in Tuscaloosa when it happened, and he was like, "Man, it was the weirdest thing. There was this green tent."
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
He's like, before it happened, everything looked green. It was just really weird.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden those tornadoes come through. But I can't imagine a more helpless feeling.
no.
And you hear the stories, but can you imagine being Carson Tinker waking up in a field, just like not really realizing what's going on?
No, and I don't think his girlfriend made it. And we went to that house like the next day, and the players were I mean, it was tough, man. I mean, you're just going around there, like, and I got a bunch of stories. I want to say thanks to all you guys. So, Craig, thank you, man. Good to see you. I'm Mick, though, not Clint, but that is Jake. Jim, I did say plush, but it is more of a lush studio. Josh, he's listening in the gym right now, and pumping some ion. Do it, man. Do it. Good to see you two. Roll Tide, Mick and Jake, thank you. Juliet, and then Bob, always great to see you. And all you guys, man, thank you guys for hanging with us and doing this podcast.
Hopefully we can see Ole Miss pull through against Auburn here in the last minute and a half.
Yeah, well, that's where we are right now, no matter where you guys might be. When you guys might be watching this, we're pulling for Ole Miss.
I just got off the phone with a buddy of mine, and he asked me what I was doing this weekend. I was like, I'm hoping I'm watching Alabama play all weekend.
Yeah, I hope so.
If I got to watch Auburn play all weekend and us, we don't make it to tomorrow, I'm going to be pretty pissed.
Do you think this? I've tried to debate this to myself. Craig, it's all good. I didn't know. I didn't know if that was a typo or if you really thought I was Clint Lamb. Love you, brother. I want to know this, and you guys can get in the comments section as well and tell me, because I'm curious. Is this SEC going to stack up when we get to the tournament next week? Or is it going to be one of those years we think we're good and then all the teams are getting knocked out? You know what I mean by that?
No, I do. And that's in the NCAA tournament's a little bit different in bowl season, right? I mean, all these games matter. So, the tournament is weird, though. I said this in the last show. A team shows up and just hits threes. Last year. Yeah. We get beat in the first round of the SEC tournament. I mean, towards the end of the year, I'm sitting there thinking, this is a dumpster fire into the year. We're done. And then we get hot. We start playing defense. All of a sudden, we're a Final Four contender. Yeah. I do think the SEC, though, this year, and I think the SEC mostly because just Alabama and Auburn showing up and becoming basketball powerhouses has lifted the entire SEC, put a lot of pressure on Kentucky and those other schools that have been good over a long period of time, traditionally good. Arkansas, Kentucky. Was Tennessee, when did they get good, or have they always been good? They've been good since Bruce Pearl was there. Yeah. But were they good before that in basketball? I don't think Tennessee, let me be honest. We were mediocre, not good. Yeah. You know that. Yeah. I think they were slightly better, but I don't think they were ever a true, when they had Buzz was one of their coaches. And honestly, Bruce Pearl's probably the guy that made them consistently good. They have a great arena. Mm-hmm. I wish we had their arena, the Thompson Bowling Arena in Tuscaloosa. Yeah. Because not only could you use it for basketball, but you could use it for concerts. They have a ton of big concerts that come through there too. And then use that money to to put back into the athletic department, like the Cubs do when they have concerts at Wrigley. A lot of that money goes back into the team. Yeah. Tennessee, a coach told me when I took a visit to Tennessee that Tennessee has the most billionaire alumni than any other SEC school, or maybe any other D1 football school. I worked for one of them. Is that true, though? Yeah. I don't know why he was telling me that. It was prior to that. No, I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to tell you, I worked for one of them. He's a great guy. He's really smart. And we don't have that advantage at Alabama. Yeah. Have you ever been witness the I used to, and you know what? I used to work for another one. I didn't think about that. I worked for the Haslams when my first, being the Smokies
play-by-play guy. And then and they owned the team, and then they sold it and bought the Cleveland Browns. I didn't realize like how powerful they were. They came in and said they liked me on the radio, and everybody was like looking at me. I just thought, like, they're like, hey, that's really good. You know what I mean? But I wasn't really up on that. I just got the job, but they were great to me personally. And to the point where they owned Pilot gas stations, and I would stop at Pilot every time just because I like them. And
have you ever been a part of the party on the river when all the, what do they call it?
The Vol Navy.
Yeah, the Vol Navy.
Of course I have.
Have you really?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Look, when I've smoked some cigars down there after some ass whoopings. The last 2 times we haven't, but all those years.
I guess it was that early 2010s you did that.
Yeah. some great ones. It got to the point where they screwed up their football program so bad we were just crushing them.
Do you think Tennessee, when they played Alabama during the Saban era, just stopped buying cigars before the game?
Dude, they had to, man.
I mean, why bother?
All those pictures up there. I have a picture.
Dude, I
have a picture of me smoking every year. Every year I took a picture.
But it had to have crossed their mind, like, should we even buy them this year?
No.
Well, I guess they didn't have to. They never smoked them, so they could just use the ones from the year prior.
Well, I work for Randy now, and he's the president at the University of Tennessee. He ran for governor. He owns the Smokies. I wish Bama had a Randy to go along with Greg Byrne. Where he's just like he's just an excellent business guy, and that's why I keep saying that Alabama's got to get out of their own way. They've got to be creative with NIL, because I'm around I see what they're doing at Tennessee. They're turning the football stadium into a business district.
Yeah,
do you know this?
No, I don't.
They're building, and I'm sure Randy's like in the middle of all this stuff. He's just great. He's easy to work with, and he's an ideas guy, and everything he does it well. And I sometimes I feel like with Alabama, the NIL stuff, I've said this before, and you guys know, if you watch me, I say this a lot, Saban wasn't in on the NIL thing early. He didn't believe in it. I get that, but we still have an athletic department of no, and we got to get to the point where they're in the business of saying yes. Because to be successful, you have to be creative. You have to be inventive. And I see what's going on in Tennessee because I work with those guys, and I hear what we go out and you eat dinner, you talk to them. Hey, we're putting a business district in. So that means like you come to town for the game and you're hanging out inside the stadium. All that money, all that revenue is going back into the program. They're adding a tax to the tickets for NIL. So we got to, it sucks the way that it's set up right now, but gotta be creative.
Look, Coach Saban though was ahead of every curve when it came to new rulings and the NCAA. It's just
coaching and getting the most out of people. Best coach ever.
And then he's got analysts that have been on Super Bowl winning teams.
Yeah, I know. I love Coach Saban, and it's not a shot at him. It's just that I don't think.
Well, when the rules are clear, and he can create an advantage. Yeah.
None at all. But I'm gonna throw a question at you, and I'm gonna hook us up. Yeah. All right. So do you really think? And Craig says he says that I honestly can't stand Bruce Pearl trying to claim the crane. Hey, look.
Okay, you got to elaborate on that because. I mean, I heard. Yeah, I saw a post about that saying that Auburn was claiming that was their deal, which that all started with John Mechie, right?
Yeah, and the sad part is that these other schools are trying to take our tradition. Nothing makes me irritated more than when Tennessee tries to play Dixieland Delight, and now all of a sudden Auburn's doing the crane. What's LSU going to do? They're going to take Alabama and start playing it. I mean, come on, man. Here
well, it's not a real trend until Alabama starts doing it.
Yeah, right. I know.
With the ultimate patent holder. So what was the question again? The Christmas.
Do you really think that this year the basketball? I'm going to put up a comment here too. Get right from Jim, but he's like Jay Billis says that this is the best season the SEC's had. Do you think that? Are they going to hold up in the tournament?
Well, it's got to be, right? We got we're looking at possibly we got at least 12 teams in the tournament, potentially 14. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got that's what is that? 15% of the field. I mean, you watch Alabama, you watch Auburn,
But are they going to hold up?
but look what we did.
That's the thing. Are they going to hold up? That's the question I have.
Well, hey, that's the best part about March Madness. You never know. You never know. I think we're gonna get a mid-level SEC team that goes a long way, though. I think Missouri is dangerous. I think they're going deeper. You know, a lot of these teams, if they were in the ACC or another conference, they'd be dominating.
Did you hear talking about the ACC? Did you hear the comment that that Oats made in his press conference? Or
I think you read it to me last show.
He was talking about how many wins that
we won more SEC championships than anybody since I've been here.
Another one. He said that we won more games against top 25 teams in the whole ACC. I'm like, the level of shit talk that he does is just amazing to me.
But he can't help it because he's just too on it. Like he cannot.
It doesn't even come off like that. You know.
Well, it's when you go to a wedding or something, and you see somebody that, or you meet somebody kind of new, and you think they're joking, but they just kind of look at you just with a blank face.
Yeah, right.
That's Nate Oates.
Yeah,
like he, when you talk to him, he says shit where you start to laugh, and then you look at him, and he's like, "What are you laughing at?"
Yeah, I'm being serious. Do you think that this could potentially be his last year?
No, I don't think so. I think he loves Alabama.
I do too. I've heard that.
No, I think his kids love Alabama.
But I mean, if you're one of these like blue blood schools, and you're like our economy is based on football, and so there's been times where I can remember when there were some times, and when I was living in Tuscaloosa and working for Crimson Tide Sports Network, knew like kind of the behind the scenes stuff, where some of the other coaches would when football wasn't playing well, and you had weak leadership before Saban got there and started to basically take over everything and put things back in perspective. But the coaches of the other teams would really like try to infringe on what football was, and kind of take away from what that football's, like probably the lifeblood of Alabama sports, right? And then when Saban came in, like immediately boosters, other coaches, people in the administration, everybody just knew, hey, this guy's in charge. Back off and let him do his thing, right?
Well, I mean, you saw that play out live. I mean, in the media with Kentucky with Mark Stoops and John Calipari.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when Calipari said, look, this is a basketball school.
That's right.
And Mark Stoops was like, whoa, hold on now. Which, I mean.
And everybody put him in his place.
Yeah, I mean, but if Coach Saban was to walk out there and say, look, this is a football school, then everybody's like, yep, yes, sir, you're right.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I love that about Saban. But you know what? But my point is, like, at schools like Kentucky, though, it's the opposite. They're making all their money on basketball. Like, you watch, like, Bama's got to play Kentucky in the tournament, right? And what sucks about it is, first off, it's at 9:00, which is too late for me.
Do you think they're making, I mean.
But secondly, Kentucky buys all the damn tickets because their fans care.
Yeah. I bet you Kentucky football does pretty well, though.
Like financially? Well, they're making.
I mean, if you look at Alabama football and Alabama basketball, the difference is just like not even close, right? But I bet Kentucky basketball and Kentucky football, I bet that differential is not as much.
Maybe because of TV revenue, but like interest and stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like all the business. I mean, and my point is this: is that when you start to look at the actual money that could be in there, the bottom line is this: is somebody's going to come along and say, hey, this guy's a winner. If he can win at Alabama, and I believe this, he can win anywhere. It's not like by the time he got there, it's not like there was any kind of tradition. I know Brian Passing used to tell me, and I know he's right. He's like, besides Kentucky, Bama has the second best tradition, right? And they do, but it's because there's not a lot of tradition. You know what I mean? It's like Kentucky.
Not a lot of tradition in the SEC.
Yeah, like Kentucky's balling everybody over. Arkansas had that run, but they had that run when, back in the early 90s, they won back-to-back championships. They haven't really done, they've been okay. But no one has had like sustained success. Alabama had CM Newton, then they had Wimp. Gottfried had a couple good years and a decent run.
We've never won a national championship. Arkansas, you went back to backs.
Yeah, Arkansas is one, and I guess outside of Kentucky, is that the only? Oh, Florida. And remember, Florida had the back-to-back.
Oh yeah, so we're not number two.
No. I'm saying like when it comes to like awards, like we are, besides the national championships, but SEC championships and wins and stuff like that.
SEC championships.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. I thought we were, kind of middle of the pack and everything in basketball.
No. But now, I mean, with this guy here, man, it's crazy.
How many SEC titles, SEC tournaments have we won over the last, since NATO's got here? He's probably won more than he's lost.
Well, he said he's won more. I mean, I remember 2 SEC regular season championships and 2 tournament championships.
He got here 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I still, now that this tournament's on, the SEC tournament champion to me, I get it. The season says more about consistency and wins, but the tournament to me is that decides the real champion.
Right.
How are we doing at the end of the year? And you got to play everybody, basically.
Yep.
I tell you what, though, I don't like the 2-day bye.
That makes you nervous, huh?
It's like a bye in football. I mean, sometimes you respond, sometimes you don't. But, I mean, if you don't have a rhythm, you hadn't been playing and other teams have, that can be dangerous, especially in basketball where you're playing back-to-back.
Yeah.
Now, I think the team that has to play 2 games is a disadvantage, but like Missouri, Kentucky.
Yep.
I mean, Kentucky almost lost last night. They kind of got that out of their system, and they're probably going to play pretty well against us tonight. And we're knocking rust off after, taking a week off. So, I don't know. We'll see, but a lot of buys in basketball make me a little nervous.
Hey, Antoine, Roll Tide right back at you, man. Thank you. You love basketball, though. And we've talked about this before, too, because legendary basketball, a grandfather of yours, Jules Monnier. This guy, when basketball talk happens on here, there's a grin that he gets that's different than anything else.
I love basketball. Thought I was going to play basketball in college first.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about how your life would be different.
You and I would have never met.
I know. You know what the other day I was looking for a picture of you for a thumbnail, and I needed you in a headset on the sideline. When you would send the plays out. Do you have any pictures of that?
I never did that.
No wonder I couldn't find it. So I'm going through all your.
Why were you looking for that?
For a thumbnail. Yeah, just because we were talking about quarterbacks. We were talking about the quarterback battle. You were giving people hey, if I was telling those guys how to handle
being the signaler, that's about as bad as being the holder.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do except jack it up.
So, give me a signal. Just throw one out for everybody. What do you remember? Just give us
Florida
one.
State or Alabama?
It doesn't matter. Alabama, since we're here.
Well, the motions and the formation were on a board, and then let's see. I guess they're not using them anymore. But Jack was a 6-man protection. It was Jack here, Jill here. I think that was it. See, now they're running together.
So be like, you do this?
Or I think this is Jack. This is Jill. Let's see. That's weird. I trying to think of or north, south. North was right, south was down, south was left, north was right. Inside zone, south gut.
Right.
That was just as simple as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
But say, you had the worst were the long passes with the tags, tags all over the place.
Yeah.
You'd have a tag for, Z, whatever, Z post, X hitch or out, whatever. The tags are what got you. But we were no huddle. So the best part about it, for the most part, was, they had the board up and you were hauling ass up there, and I just yelled to the entire team what I saw when the signal came up.
Mm-hmm.
And so the receivers looked for their own. Of course, the quarterback had to see everything. Formation, protection, route combination. Receivers just waited on the route. They looked at formation and then route combination or a tag.
Yeah.
But I was always yelling that out and making sure everybody got it. So, but at Florida State, it was, we huddled. Then the quarterback looked at all the signals, came back to the huddle, called the play, then you're out. But
did you do signs there?
No.
So you weren't one of those guys. So I'm like, see them on the sideline. They're like,
yeah.
Then
we had a GA do. We had GAs doing it at Florida State up until my last year there. Then Randy Sanders did them, and then after that, Alec Morris was doing them in Alabama. But I wore a headset and stood behind Coach Sanders during the national championship, and he's signaling in plays, and I've told that story about when we played Clemson, and we had a double move, and Coach Sanders didn't signal in the double move; he signaled in the base play. So Jameis ends up throwing an interception because the receiver got the double move, but Jameis didn't, and I was like, I was, I wasn't wearing a headset that day. When the national championship rolled around, I told Coach Sanders, like, hey, man, you want me to wear the headset? And if I hear the play and you signal in incorrectly, I'll be able to fix it. And he's like, yeah, that'll work. You do that. So I'm wearing that headset, and it was kind of one of those same situations against Auburn. We had a double move on, and I didn't see Coach Sanders like with 100% certainty, but I was like, Coach, I think you just signaled that play in wrong.
Oh yeah.
And he's like telling me, he's like, wait, Jimbo, what'd you call? And I'm standing there kind of back, and Jimbo's like, he's like, what do you mean what I call? He's like, what'd you signal in? And they're going at it, back and forth on the sideline, like, about to, kill each other. And I'm like, oh God, I'm getting out of here. I just crutched my way to the other side of the sideline because I don't get brought into that conversation. I can't remember if we called a timeout after that or not. I think we did. But yeah, that's a nerve-wracking spot, man. You miss one tag and it could be the difference in a pick six.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I looked for you on there and I didn't find you, but I was like running through, I looked through a million pictures. I was like, this guy's had a good life. There's a lot of stuff on you, man. I'm like looking at all this different stuff. And I said, man, next time this comes up, I gotta tell you that, wow. Cause I don't even think about it. We get in here and talk, I'm not thinking about what your career's like. I'm just
been a roller coaster. That's for sure.
Yeah. Watching you at Florida State, at Alabama. And I went to all those games when you were at Alabama. That was the most fun I ever had as a fan, because
that game.
Well, all that whole season, because we did the tailgate show with Mike and Barron and Ben George, three guys I love. not just guys I work with, but guys I really like,
Yeah.
and it was so much fun. And we went to Georgia, and we went to, to Glendale, and we didn't go to the first round game, but we went pretty much everywhere else. And we would do the show, the tailgate show in the morning, and then we would go drink and have fun. And those guys had played, and Mike was just getting out of the league, so it was like he finally got the chance to be like a fan.
Yeah.
And then Barron's like the life of the party, and then Ben George is like a guy that I've been friends with since I got to college. So, and then you guys won it all. And it was a weird season because there were high expectations. You lost to Ole Miss. Everybody counted you out.
Oh, yeah.
And then I remember the defense being on the sideline, like really getting pumped up. And it was almost like watching a wrestling match, like there were some games where it was like the Tennessee game and then lose. And then everybody's like jumping on the sideline. You remember they play that song that I don't even know what yeah. And I tried to play that. I played it, and then I heard the words.
In 2014 when we played A&M and beat them like 59-0.
I love that game.
That's when it started.
I remember the event I remember about that is we lost the year before to Johnny Manziel. I was on the sideline for that game.
No, wait.
Right? Wasn't it the year before? Because
no, I don't think so.
So
because we beat them at A&M
the next year,
the year prior to 2014.
So anyway, that game we did the show. I just remember this. We did the tailgate show, and Ben George picked Texas A&M, and he never picked against Alabama, and then we beat him 59-0. So every time on the show, I kept going like this, like, well, Ben, we know how your predictions turn out.
We're gonna have a new segment called Fade Ben. Ben, can you tell us who you're picking first?
That's why he covers. That's why he's over in North Carolina now. Oh, Chuck throwing out the ice cream reference. I know. I hear you, man. Roll Tide. Dustin, man. Roll Tide to you. Thank you for watching. Rocket Town. Glad to catch a live stream. Roll Tide, y'all. Roll Tide right back at you, Chuck. I know your sense of humor, Chuck. Craig says, wish we would have had a few more years with Jake at QB, embodied the toughness that Bama was known for. I agree with that, man. And I thought that you should have played earlier. I know it is what it is, but it's the politics of football. It's also somebody believing in you, giving you an opportunity. It's how life is too, man. Like you walk into a room and, for whatever reason, somebody may be, thanks, Greg. Love the show. It's fun doing. I'll tell you that much. Somebody's got to buy into you, but man, I would have loved to have seen one more year with you at QB.
I appreciate that comment.
I would have loved it.
I appreciate that comment. It would have been, I mean, I don't, because I didn't play until my fifth year, you don't realize how much more comfortable you feel as a quarterback when you have time to play. Because the difference in walking on the field that first game versus walking on the field that last game, I mean, it gets to where playing in front of that crowd with that kind of weight or that kind of just importance of each play mattering so much. It gets to where it's just routine, and you don't think about any of that stuff. It's experience at the quarterback position is more valuable than any other thing that you could possibly conquer as a quarterback. Just getting time out there and also having coaches that believe in you or at least are behind you. Who you running that over there?
No, I'm just laughing because I was going to say, but now you're on an even bigger team, the Tailgate Show team.
That's right.
And the Cover Crimson team. Oh, man. No. Congratulations, though, dude. I saw all those pictures. None of them with you, calling in plays on the sideline. But I guess that's because you never did that.
No.
That would have been a hell of a thumbnail, though.
Yeah.
Well, we got the basketball games. Hopefully Bama makes a run. And then Sunday, 5:00, they'll announce the NCAA tournament. And God, I'm so like I don't even know if it's better to be a number 1 seed, just because.
Where were we seated last year? What was our
4?
4?
I think so. Yeah.
Which,
And remember that was
and
a
look
4.
at me. Look at me saying we had a terrible year at the. I've already changed my ways and my opinion. I mean, last year I'm gloom and doom about a 4 seed when 10 years ago I'd have been like, this is the greatest Alabama team I've
We're
ever
a 4
watched.
seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're spoiled.
Yeah.
Hey, look, and I'm telling you guys this right now, and it's not that I'm trying to be that guy, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to lay it out there. Nate Oats walks away. We go right back to being mediocre again. We have the best coach that we've ever had. And I like Wimp. I respect CM Newton. This guy is the best coach we've ever had.
Well, look, we have had great coaches, but to be consistently, look, when your expectations change as a fan from, being happy with a Sweet 16 appearance here and there to, damn it, we're a 4 seed. I mean, the coach has done something pretty well.
Yeah, right.
I mean, those expectations, they have nothing to do with anything other than the fact that Nate Oats has transformed this program into an elite program, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can get upset about losing to number 1 Auburn all you want to, which I was when we lost to them at home. But, at the same time, it's pretty freaking awesome to expect to beat the number 1 team at home.
Hey, look, that game was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. Like, it was a great game.
Yeah, this past one, the one we just played.
Yeah, the one that we won. I
was referencing the one we lost at home.
I didn't like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. But the one we won, oh, it was so awesome, man. Just to see them, like, the crowd, like, oh, man, it's so funny, though. When you think about it, like this, like the broom with his shirt over his head. Like,
I love, man.
Shucks.
When Grant Nelson dunked that ball, I mean, I was watching it outside. My kids are taking naps, and I'm outside, by myself watching it on TV, and he dunks it, and I mean, I'm like, Sarah, my wife, she's laying on the couch with my oldest daughter, watching TV inside, and I'm, losing my mind outside. I see her through the window. She's like, "What is going on out there?" And then Grant Nelson hits the Crimson Crane, and I mean, right then I was like, "All right, that's my favorite basketball player to ever play at Alabama."
Really?
And then Sears hits the game winner. I was like, "All right,
he's
Grant,
mine.
You're back to number 2."
Yeah.
Just a span of an hour and a half.
Yeah.
My favorite basketball player at Alabama was, going back and forth.
Well, Nate said it in his postgame. He's like, "Look, man, this guy's beat the number 1 team on the road twice and in a neutral site once. Nobody at Alabama's ever done that." And It's like, yeah, I mean, like, but his legacy is not done yet.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see exactly what that looks like when we go from where we are today to where we're going when the NCAA tournament's over.
Yeah.
And if you have one bad game like they did against Ole Miss, they're out. Or if somebody plays an exceptional game like Florida did, and I know we didn't rebound, but you're out.
Let me tell you, the Nate Oats, I'm going to say Nate Oats needs to do something, but like I, can give him perspective at all. But Grant Nelson, when he plays that way, we play so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, when you get the quiet guy that's kind of reserved to just come out and be an absolute freaking murderer out there.
Right.
I mean, the whole team responds. When he did that, it was like the team completely changed and we had confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, we were playing pretty well during that game, but when that happened, it was like flipping a page.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
And that's what happened last year in the tournament. He played that way, and we played played with our hair on fire.
Yeah. Played like with a little bit of desperation. Antoine, great comment. Chad Baker Mazzara needs to be playing football for Auburn. Yeah, that's I always look. Maybe Auburn says this about us. When I think of them, I always think of cheap shots. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I always think of cheap. Like when the year they won the national championship, like taking cheap shots.
I do have some sympathy for them in that. Because when you're little brother, like I was, you got to get your cheap shots in when you can, because you're not winning.
No.
You're not. You're outmatched.
Yeah.
So maybe when they grow up and they leave Auburn, maybe they can escape that that shadow that's always going to hang over them. But when you're little brother, you got to get your shots.
You got to take your shots when they're there, man.
But in all seriousness, I mean, I get what you. He does piss me off watching him, but if he played at Alabama, I'd love him.
Would you?
I mean, I love guys that play their ass off. And we always talk about how we loved basketball. Of course, I wasn't allowed to see it, but when I was younger, NBA basketball, I loved it because those guys beat the hell out of each other. They did. I mean, they played with fire, passion,
Bill
all that.
Laimbeer days.
Yeah, I mean,
Dennis, the Worm Rodman.
But even when I was really young and Shaq was still playing, Kobe was playing,
Larry Bird.
I mean, those guys were getting after it.
Yeah.
And there was a cheap shot here and there,
right?
And you're just like, I mean, that's just ball.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, it's different now. All sports are like that. Baseball, they've taken out contact at the plate, at the bases, and football, like a lot of that blindside stuff. And but football, they had to, man. And I'm sympathetic to it because I don't want to see guys that play football or any sport have head injury issues for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but some of it's ridiculous.
Now they've gotten to where it's just too much. But to me, there's hits that are made where you can tell there's, real malicious intent behind it.
Right.
I mean, we're going to hurt this guy. But some of these shots, I mean, a guy lowers his head and drills somebody in the chest. It's coming over the middle. I mean, it is what it is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, what's the guy's name that played for the Bengals? Was always getting,
Bernard or something.
Yeah,
I forget. It's not
Vontae's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
I mean, he
terrible.
had some hits where you're like, okay, you're gonna end careers doing that.
Yeah, you're being unfair right now.
But at the same, that was, heck, man. I know, just in the early 2000s, you were taught to, get this guy off the field.
Yeah. It's a different world right now. But also the other thing too, man, is that guys weren't like built machines like they are now. Like you're talking about dudes that are big and strong and working out all the time, and like just it's just the technology, the training regiments, all that stuff's different. You got to be careful. I'm all about safety, but seeing the way that between different like officiating crews, how they officiate, like when they let Tennessee beat up on Bryce Young and didn't call any of those penalties in the game that I think
that game was a problem.
Well, I'll tell you, like, and you guys know this, Tennessee beat us this year. I have no problem with the way that game. Well, there were some bad calls, but they mess up so many calls anymore that it doesn't matter. But that first Tennessee game when Saban was there, it changed my philosophy on could a game be fixed? And I've said that before. Could it?
I mean,
you got a couple of those guys on your side. It could, and there's a lot of money out there now, isn't there?
As I've gotten older, I've come to the conclusion that anything's possible.
That's right.
So it doesn't really surprise me. If somebody came out and said it, it wouldn't surprise me.
No. All right. I think you got to get out of here soon, right?
I do.
All right. Well, look, this was fun.
Always.
It was great to see you. And I love your hat, by the way. You guys out there, love you too. A couple things I want to tell you though, before we get out of here. Covercrimson.com. I'm going to be on there watching the Bama game. We'll be commenting and all that stuff. So if you're not a member, 25% off right now, the annual subscription. It's not just for basketball talk. It's just kind of like our little community that we've put together, and we want you guys to be a part of that as well. So that's our spot to do that. And then the other thing is that we are proudly presented by the great people at mybookie.ag, and our promo code is Crimson, 50% off bonus, deposit bonus up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip when you use our code Crimson right now by mybookie.ag. Look, I'm not going to tell you that I don't gamble. Okay. I don't gamble on baseball. I can tell you that for sure. But when it comes to the NCAA tournament, I am a gambling fool. I am, and you know this, I'm flying out to Vegas on Wednesday, and it's going to be, think about sitting in the sports book on the West Coast time. Those games are going to be on when you wake up, shake that hangover off and walk down to the sports book, you know. But you can do it at mybookie.ag, and you don't even have to go to Vegas. And if you're out in Vegas, holler at me. Holler at you. All right. Thank you guys again. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, all the comments. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, Chuck. Roll Tide to all you guys, and we'll be back in action again next week. Clint will be back from his bachelor party, so that means that you'll hear.
Where is he?
He's in the mountains right now with his brother's bachelor party. So
what mountains?
North Carolina. So anyway, all right, guys, thank you, and have a great weekend.